This episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by HelloFresh. Get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and delicious seasonal recipes delivered directly to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
HelloFresh offers a variety of delicious recipe options each week to help you break out of your recipe rut. I love HelloFresh because I can stop worrying about planning meals and grocery shopping and just focus on making great meals and getting them on the table in about 30 minutes.
So go to HelloFresh.com/80GoingInRaw and use code 80GoingInRaw to get a total of $80 off your first month, including free shipping on your first box. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit HelloFresh.com for more details.
That's HelloFresh.com/80GoingInRaw and use code 80GoingInRaw to get a total of $80 off, including free shipping on your first box.
What's up, it's your girl Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you can be listening to right here, youtube.com/Steven Larson. Taped live at Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson, which, by the way, is going to be where we do our epic 24-hour stream. September 19th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time, going to 10 a.m. Pacific time the next day. So that should be something. It should be really long and pretty weird, kind of like Raw tonight.
Yeah.
So we're
what a
figuring
weird
out.
show.
We're figuring out.
Is this one of the episodes they rewrote the last minute?
I can almost guarantee it was.
Because it feels like it. There was no preview up as of like 1 o'clock or whatever.
Almost guarantee
there was no preview.
That was the case. I'm not even going to say it was like a bad show.
There were parts of it that were bad.
It was just a weird show. Like, for example, I understand the idea that Nia Jax said she could beat the Riott Squad by herself, and that precipitated both of those handicap matches.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's really booking yourself into a corner.
It really is, and regardless of the outcome of either or both those matches, I don't really feel like anybody gets anything out of it.
Nobody gets anything.
Nobody gets anything out of it.
Yeah, Shayna lost the first one, and she just sort of, the thing that I liked about it is that she loses it, but it's like she was talking to Nia the whole time, like not taking it really seriously, and she was still able to handle, like, honestly, even with Shayna losing, the Riott Squad looked worse there because Shayna never really looked in danger, and she just sort of got caught. So, like, the general premise of that was kind of, I don't know, you tell me, what are we going to put on the thumbnail for this episode, Larson? What's the biggest thing to come out of this?
Well, I mean, Cedric's heel turn.
I'm assuming that's the thing. It's not really like an A story or even a B story, but that's the thing that I like the most.
It's that, yeah, that was handled pretty well.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
And then, I don't know, Randy getting Claymored a bunch.
I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was good, too.
I really liked all the Orton. Orton is putting in some really good work these days. This dude selling, especially right before the third one, when it showed him about to leave, and he just looked miserable. He was holding his face, and he had a stupid little wrestling bag with him.
You know what they should have done?
He was limping out. That was good.
Should have done. Brando in the first Godfather, to get his, like his jaw wider, stuffed a bunch of cotton in there. Mm-hmm. That's what Orton should have did on one side. Yeah, like his face was swelling up.
That'd be good. I like that. So yeah, I thought that was good stuff. I thought there was a lot of good stuff. I'm not sure why Dominik Mysterio is still in the main event of Raw, though. That's sort of weird.
Yeah,
that finish was weird.
Yeah, it was. It was like has that supposed to be satisfying as a fan to watch?
Like, the daughter looks so uncomfortable. Like, and then the mom
and Mrs. Mysterio did too.
Like, hey, let's celebrate our bloodlust and take out Seth's poor hapless apprentice.
Yeah.
And celebrate.
At the end of it, I just felt bad for Buddy. It's like, man, you're getting beat to hell with a bunch of kendo sticks.
In kayfabe,
I have
they were going pretty easy
for you.
Yeah. It was silly. It was so silly. A lot of Raw was silly, and it just felt really. I laid on my bed and watched this. I plugged in the Chromecast on my TV, so maybe that was part of it. I was just laying there. I was so comfortable. I should have taken a nap.
Yeah, you probably could have and not missed a whole lot. We got more Scrap Iron tonight. That was cool.
Oh, dude. Can we put Scrap Iron in the thumbnail?
Sure. Done.
Top 10 Scrap Iron moments from this season.
Hopefully, Hansen, Ivar, is all right. They had to rush the finish of that 8-man tag match because he got hurt during a suicide dive, threw up the X for himself. All right. and they were attending to him, and it seems like that finish was like, all right, we need to get out of here to make sure he's fine. Let's talk about how pointless Raw Underground is right now, because it's utterly pointless. It was a good premise, an interesting premise when it debuted, and now it's just going nowhere fast.
Yeah. What was the deal with that Kevin Owens, Aleister Black thing, and then they get beat by like a Performance Center guy?
I know.
Like, I get the idea.
Because they barely brushed up against him, basically.
I get the idea. Well, Kevin Owens shoved him. I get the idea that they were fighting throughout the entirety from when they started to when that finished, and it went through like 5 different matches that were shown on Raw. Raw Underground is just one of those curiosities that it's not going to be around very long.
No,
it isn't. I mean, maybe if something happens where Vince actually does pass off creative, not pass, if he passes off creative to Shane completely and totally, maybe we'll see Raw Underground in its truest form, because it's a Shane idea. Yeah. And if it's filtered through Vince and Bruce, or Vince and whoever else is running the show, it's gonna be a stunted version of what it should be, which is what we're getting right now.
Yeah. We're getting the kernel of the idea and nothing more.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
You know, we're getting a different set where wrestlers can have fights, I guess. It's a vessel strictly to advance storylines that don't happen within Raw Underground for the most part.
Sorry, I like this Fear and Loathing. Yeah, I still like the general idea. Is it wasted? I don't think it's wasted, because we've gotten some cool stuff. We've got Jessamine Duke. We've got Marina Shafir. There's been good stuff. They're not going full on with what they should be doing with it, but we've gotten some good stuff. It's been useful.
There's been some good stuff, but even the good stuff feels like spinning the wheels on the idea of Raw Underground and not necessarily pushing the idea forward.
It still feels half-cocked. So, like, for example, you know, we've seen, and granted, and this plays right into what you're saying, Arturo Ruas. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Is this guy going to, like, be a mainstay here in Raw Underground and then transition that character, which I think could work on main roster, to main roster? That's how you use Raw Underground.
Apparently, I think Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out that he's been on Main Event of late.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There's a stepping stone.
All right. Here's what we can have in our thumbnail. Why is it the Retribution, who's supposed to be some, you know, like, group that doesn't exist within the universe, or doesn't exist within the structure of kayfabe WWE? You know, they're like essentially an invading force. They're not welcome there. How is it they have graphics then that show up on the Tron? Titantron time.
Yeah. Well, the idea is they're like the SmackDown hacker. They took over. They know production.
That hasn't been presented, though. They went into the production truck one time, smashed the laptop, and left.
Yeah, no. They went to the production truck and they started like dicking with all the shots. Remember, they were messing with production. They can do this.
Time. Yeah, that's right.
They can do this.
Messing your production isn't the same as actually doing something constructive.
The interesting thing about Retribution is that they exist both in kayfabe and out of kayfabe, because they do exist in the universe, and yet they exist outside of the universe as well, messing with a production truck and stuff.
Yeah.
So they occupy an interesting space. Yeah. We'll talk about Retribution.
What was up with Dijakovic? Sound like a He-Man villain with his voice like that.
Why is it that they modulated Dijakovic's voice and it still just sounded like Dijakovic?
I don't think they did anything. I think he just made his voice gruffer and deeper. I don't think they put any filter on it.
Oh, some of it sounded... You don't think so?
No, whoever talked first sounded like maybe there was some...
I think they both were. I think Dijak just is above the audio modulation. He was
channeling Ultimate Warrior and just talking.
That could be. Anyways, let's get this thing started. It was a weird episode. Orton comes out to drop a promo. He says he'd jump through whatever hoops he has to get to get another shot of the WWE title. He's faced Kevin Owens, a triple threat. He's like, and geez, tonight I got to face Keith Lee again. And Lee... You stick around me long enough, eventually you're going to get kicked in the head. But now, let's talk about Drew McIntyre. So I'm talking to you, Drew. Looks in the camera. So I'm talking to you right now, Drew.
Is it okay if I talk in the camera?
Yeah. Can I do that? I block my own scenes. He says, he basically says, they say, I'll face you at Clash of Champions if you recover in time. He says, the truth is, I kicked you in the head and broke your jaw. He says, now I'm a patient man, but... And then Larson, holler if you hear me. Scott Steiner shows up. He's driving an ambulance. He brought Drew MacIntyre back. Drew MacIntyre rushes Randy Orton. He claymores Randy Orton. Whenever I hear sirens, I think it's Scott Steiner.
Same.
I was actually kind of disappointed it wasn't Scott Steiner.
Yeah,
even though I knew deep down that was never going to happen.
So next, Hurt Business. They arrive at the arena, and MVP's telling some story. And there's a janitor, doing his job.
He's just trying to mop a floor.
He's trying to mop, and MVP was like, hey, what did you say about Shelton's mama? And he's getting on this guy to try to admit that he said something about Shelton's mama.
He didn't say anything about Shelton's mama.
And so, they corner him, they intimidate him, and then Shelton knees him in the gut, and they just walk off.
MVP was like, well, you calling me a liar? No, sir. Well, why'd you say something about his mama? I didn't. You'd call me a liar?
Yeah.
Poor bastard. After that, Scrap Iron, Adam Pearce. He's telling Drew, he's like, and in full authority. And he's really tall, so it's not like Drew can intimidate him. That's what I love about Scrap Iron. He's not actually intimidated by anybody. Anyways, he says, Drew, you're not cleared, man.
He strikes... he's like William Regal, but doesn't get frazzled. Like, Regal's not intimidated by anybody.
Right.
He's not intimidated by anybody at all. But you can tell he gets frazzled, though. Yeah,
the difference is Regal gets frazzled. He's not intimidated because everybody's like 5'0" there.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce, he's up against like 7-footers, and he's not rattled because he's Scrap Iron. Mm-hmm. Anyways, he says, Drew, listen, man. And he's not like threatening him or anything. He's like, listen, I can't have another stunt like that. I need you to leave the premises.
You're not medically cleared.
Yeah. So then Drew's like, oh, okay, fine. So he goes, and then Scrap Iron turns to security. He's like, listen, no more surprises. Go on, go do your job.
Yeah. No more uninvited guests or surprises. Next, we have a 6-man tag team action. We got Apollo Crews, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander versus Hurt Business. So faces make their entrances first. Cedric last amongst them. Hurt Business jumps Cedric during his entrance. Crews and Ricochet, they run up the ramp to make the save. And then I think Crews is in this match basically the entire time for his team. He's isolated. He's getting destroyed by Hurt Business until he hits an enziguri after Shelton's kind of distracted by Cedric and Ricochet. He tries to get the tag to Ricochet, Crews does, and then Cedric pulls Ricochet off the apron, tosses him around ringside, and Crews is yelling at him, what are you doing? So he gets back to wrestling. Cedric hits the ring, hits Crews with a lumbar check, and then Shelton hits Crews with pay dirt to get the win. And so you have Shelton, MVP, Lashley in the ring, and Cedric on the outside. So he didn't join them immediately to celebrate. So at first I was like, is this some sort of swerve that's in the works here?
This is what I loved about it, though. You're not the only person who thought that. I thought that, and Shelton Benjamin thought that also. Yeah. Because later on we got a little talking to with him. We'll get to that in a second. All right, Larson, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, forhims.com. Hey, Larson.
Yeah?
Is that airline of yours moving backwards? Because 66% of men start losing their hair by the age of 35. But I'm here to tell you that the best time to prevent even more hair loss is to do something right now while you still have some hair up on your dome.
Well, Steve, thanks to the wonders of science, hair loss can be optional. It's time to write a new chapter. One where you have hair. Hims helps guys be the best version of themselves with FDA-approved products to treat hair loss.
Hims connects you with licensed medical professionals online. All you got to do is answer a few questions to see if FDA-approved hair loss treatments are right for you. If approved, products are shipped directly to your door. That means you can say goodbye to awkward in-person doctor's visits and long pharmacy lines.
Today, Hims is giving you their best offer yet. If you're not happy with your results after 90 days, Hims will give you a full refund. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get their first visit absolutely free. Go to forhims.com/GIR. That's forhims.com/GIR.
Full refund of price paid available for first 90-day supply. Refund requests must be made between 90 and 180 days after product shipment delivered. Prescription products require an online consultation with a medical professional who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/GIR. After that, we had the Street Profits versus the New Jacket of Angel Garza.
New pants, too. They're blue pants.
New pants, yeah. They're blue? I thought they were black. They were blue?
They're like dark blue.
What color was his jacket? I thought it was black and white.
No, I thought it was dark blue, too.
Is this one of those things like on the internet?
Maybe. Is this dress blue or yellow?
It's probably, your TV is probably like lighter calibrated.
Well, I was watching on my laptop. Maybe it's cooler.
Okay.
Maybe it's cooler. Let's see what Chad has to say. Anyways, go ahead.
You're probably right. I make sure on my TV to crush the blacks. So yeah, they're obviously pissed off at Garza. They walk right past him during entrances. That's Andrade and Zelina Vega, and that's the entire story of this very fast match. Andrade and Garza and Zelina are all just arguing the entire time. It's really distracting. Easy win. So they're saying it. First answer is blue. Yeah,
blue.
Okay.
I thought it was blue. Yeah, it was.
Black and white would look really cool.
It was really easy win for the Street Profits. So after they get the W, Cesaro and Nakamura hit the stage. This is Raw, not SmackDown. But then we go to commercial. We come back, and Cesaro says that he's shocked to find out that the Street Profits, were the longest reigning tag champs in years. But they don't really defend the titles. But what you're looking at here is real champs, because thanks to the quarterly, he said, brand-to-brand invitational, we're going to challenge you to champion versus champion bout next week. And Nakamura says, because they want the smoke. Yeah. Street Profits, they have a retort. Dawkins says, hey, you can't hang with us. He says, I've said this several times, I'll say it again, Montez is my family. Ford says, yes, they have a real bond, unlike you, Bar 2.0. And he says to Cesaro, I wonder if he knew this was not a good line, and that's why he kind of stumbled over it. He says, maybe you should go, considering how many partners you've had, maybe you should go get an STD test.
Yeah, it was a bad line. I think that their comeback was generally pretty bad, saying they're the Bar 2.0. You've had a lot of partners, which is actually true. But yeah, I feel like this should be a really good match. Probably won't have like a real finish. Some people here in chat are bringing up this. You and I are both thinking it. Unify these damn titles.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Me too. That's what I was hoping.
Have a match of Clash of Champions and have them unify the titles.
Well, maybe they'll still do that. There's a week left. They can do the wonk finish next week and then unify the titles. A couple people here in chat are saying that. I think that'd be terrific. They don't have a lot of tag teams. It's obvious tag team wrestling is not on their agenda, so might as well just have like one pretty decent division.
Instead of two kind of mediocre divisions.
After that, we've got some silliness with the 24/7 title. R-Truth. He's a nice little looking dessert spread there in catering. But then like the ninjas show up and he runs away. It's just really not worth it justifying talking about that anymore. After that, we had Peyton Royce with a new theme song. She looks really weird alone. She was taking on Billie Kay. New theme song. She looks really weird alone. Yeah,
and the theme is generic and boring. And like you're so used to the Iconics music hitting.
Yeah, it's a killer track. It's a killer track.
And they do their pose together on the ring or on the stage, make the way down the ring, and there was none of that, and it felt strange. It was no.
Peyton,
it takes some getting used to.
There are a couple things I didn't like about this. Number one, I thought that the character work between the two of them was outstanding in the ring. I thought the awkwardness. I thought a couple of things sort of, I'm not going to say killed this match for me. Commentary the entire time was hyping up Peyton starting her singles career. That's all they would talk about. They wouldn't really reference the fact that Billie is also starting a singles career. They're just telegraphing, A, the winner of this particular match, and B, that they have zero plans for Billie Kay. At least, like, float it out there for people who might be interested, and people might kick up a stink on Twitter about it. You know what I mean? Like, give Billie Kay a chance.
Yeah, I know.
So that bugged me. That being said, it was a fun little match. Like I said, they kicked it off by basically continuing their arguing over who lost the match for them last week. And that played into it.
There's a lot of really good wrestling in here, too. There's a lot of really good back and forth, especially after they started arguing.
They only gave him like 7 minutes or so. It was not a long match. Honestly, dude, this was such a wasted opportunity. It's like they were just like, well, screw it. Nobody really cares about them as a team, so nobody's going to care about their breakup. So let's just get this out of the way. That's how it felt. That's how it was presented. And I'm like, they could have made a bigger deal about this. And people would have been into it.
To a certain extent, I appreciate they didn't go the usual route of, tag team breaks up, let's have the two members feud against each other.
Mm-hmm.
I like that this was like a match they were booked into.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, there's a nice moment at the end that seemed very genuine and very real.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like give this match some weight, some importance. Give them 12, 15 minutes. Let them tell a story in the ring.
You know what really irritated me, I think, towards the start of this match? Michael Cole said, shouldn't their breakup have been more emotional?
Did he? Well, he's on SmackDown. Maybe he doesn't watch Raw.
That could be. But I was like, I feel like it was. Like they had a whole montage last week before the match. After the match, they were crying. They had a whole .com thing where they were basically out of character saying how much they mean to each other. Like, stop selling that this is not a big deal. Because at the very least, to the two competitors in the ring, it is a very big deal. I don't know. It felt like weird, oddly disrespectful to like the storyline,
Yeah, I know. So Peyton got the win with her twisting brain buster. And then afterwards, Peyton helps Billie up, gives her a huge hug. Nice.
Yeah.
Moment.
Why didn't she? I mean, she probably should have, I don't know. You have that moment. Take advantage of it. If Peyton's going to be a face, then fine. I think Peyton would make a pretty good heel, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw that last week when she threw her best friend into the Sharks at Raw Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Have her pick her up, hug her, and then give her the super kick through the barbershop window,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
After that, we have another. I feel like we have one of these every week. Seth, Ray, Dominik recap. Mysterio family, they arrive at the arena. Oh, and there's Buddy creeping in the background.
No.
And then we get a Mysterio family interview. Ray gives an update on his triceps injury, says he's got no timetable for return yet, but he can't wait to get back in the ring and put an end to Seth Rollins. He's proud of his son. He knows what he needs to do against Murphy, but he knows what he needs to do to put an end to Seth. I think that's what he said. This is terrible note-taking here on my part. Sorry. So Dom is about to speak, and then Buddy's like, hey, up here. I'm on the Tron. I think the question of Dom is like, how do you feel in advance of this match? And Buddy says, Dom, you should feel awful because it was you, Dom, that made Seth not like me anymore. And Ray said, hey, that's not our fault that you pledge your loyalty to Seth. You reap what you sow. And Buddy says, Ray, you're right. You know what? Dom has a bright future in WWE, but time to end that. Buddy challenges Dom to a
street fight.
Dom says, I'm more than willing to embarrass you again in front of your Messiah. I accept. Buddy says, hey, bring your family ringside because they'll get to watch your last match. And Dom says, hey, don't you lay a hand on my family.
Do you think Seth was watching Raw tonight? Legitimately? No, probably not.
No.
He might be a big enough mark to watch that even on his days off, though.
Maybe I wonder if he DVRs and just fast forward to the stuff he's not interested in.
That could be. Like he's trying to watch it live and Becky's like, dude, you're home. What are you doing? Oh, sorry. Anyways, after that, so Nia and Shayna both have, so they're like, wait, we've got a handicap match. We got handicap matches against the Riott Squad. They're talking a scrap iron. But then he's like, yeah, you and then you. And then Drew walks by and Scrap Iron's like, hey, Drew, why are you still here? I just said leave the premises. Like, oh, I forgot my phone. I gotta get my phone back. And she was like, okay, fine, but then you have to leave. After that, we had tag team action. Asuka and Mickie James versus Lana and Natalya. Mickie was pretty much isolated most of this match because she, I think, started off. Lana
I think Asuka was going to start, and Mickey's like, no, I want to start.
Yeah. She wants to prove that she is best top challenger.
Mm-hmm.
So Lana hits her finish on Mickie James. That's broken up by Asuka. Natalya, I think, takes out Asuka at that point, and so Mickie James goes for a tag, but she's not there.
Yep.
So she's like, I'm going to go to the moon. So she starts climbing up to the turnbuckle, but then Asuka's like, oh, I'm better. Tags herself in, taps out Lana within moments.
Yeah.
And Mickie holds Natalya back, so they get the win there, and Asuka, is like sort of mocking Mickie James because
trash. Dancing.
It's obvious she's going to be the one. Has that actually been made official? Like, are they?
Who, Asuka and Mickie? That's happening next week.
That's what? Oh, that's not happening at Clash of Champions?
No, next week.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All right, before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor, HelloFresh. Get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and delicious seasonal recipes delivered directly to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
HelloFresh offers a variety of delicious recipe options to choose from each week, and they're all delivered directly to your door. And not only is HelloFresh convenient, it helps you save money. You can save up to 40% by using HelloFresh versus grocery shopping, and the meals are all top-notch.
With HelloFresh, you can stop worrying about planning meals and grocery shopping and just focus on making great meals and getting them on the table in just about 30 minutes.
And there's something for everyone, including low-calorie, vegetarian, and kid-friendly recipes. I'm particularly fond of HelloFresh's meatloaf a la mom and beef bulgogi bowls, and every recipe that I've tried has been easy to follow and quick to make. Feeding the entire Larson family has never been easier thanks to larger box sizes for more servings and more savings.
So go to HelloFresh.com/80GoingInRaw and use code 80GoingInRaw to get a total of $80 off your first month, including free shipping on your first box. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit HelloFresh.com for more details.
That's HelloFresh.com/80GoingInRaw and use code 80GoingInRaw to get a total of $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. After that, we got Hurt Business and Cedric backstage, and MVP wants to know if Cedric is ready to make it official in the VIP lounge tonight. Cedric says yes. So MVP, Lashley, they walk on ahead. Shelton stays back with Cedric, and he says to him, I hope you did come to your senses, because if not, if you're playing some kind of game here, I'm going to find out, and I'm going to beat you up.
I really like this. I love that Shelton is their enforcer. Mm-hmm. They gave him the pin tonight. Mm-hmm. And they had this little spot. I'm so over the moon happy that Shelton Benjamin has a meaty part after all these years of basically doing nothing. I love it. I think it's so great. I mean,
Agreed.
Dude, again,
yeah.
Who would have thought a year ago, MVP, not only is he back, right? Why should I care about that? But this guy has formed and seemingly has basically carte blanche on the entirety of this story. That's when he talks in interviews, that's what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, these are guys that I want to work with, and he ends up working with them. Mm-hmm. This is all really good stuff.
It is.
And the fact that because this easily, and I don't know if he is the guy that's, in charge, this easily could have been something he would have said, but they give it to Shelton, who could easily be like the guy just standing there doing nothing, just strength and numbers guy. Mm-hmm. But
no, Shelton I like that each member of Hurt Business has a character.
They have a character. They have a role. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that both MVP, who never would have expected this. Never. I know. Both MVP and Shelton having a bit of a career renaissance right now. It's fantastic. I've been a Shelton Benjamin fan for a number of years, and it's great that he's actually in a pretty high-profile role. Again, because after, they announced they're going to re-sign him, they found out he had a bum shoulder. He had to wait a year to come back, and they never really did much with him.
Yeah, right.
And it's good to see him in something good. Mm-hmm. That led to VIP Lounge with Cedric Alexander. MVP does a really fairly long-winded introduction for Cedric. Says, all right, your life's about to change from this moment forward. They hand him the shirt, which you join a faction if you put the shirt on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He didn't put the shirt on, but it's kind of because MVP, he accepted the shirt, though. MVP says, what made you change your mind? And Cedric says, I'd rather learn and earn than be on the business side of another beatdown. He said, I was going broke with Ricochet and Apollo Crews. He says, you know what, MVP, you're right. It is tough being in a tag team with a partner whose nickname is the one and only. And I like this. He said, and I was tired of putting my body on the line just so Apollo Crews could get a championship. But before he can continue, Viking Raiders interrupt with Apollo Crews, with Ricochet. They all hit the ring. Brawl breaks out. Faces clear the ring. Go to commercial. We know what's going to happen next. 8-man tag team action.
Yeah. Man, this is just the perfect example of sometimes just being a bad guy, you just have so much more to do. Because this is the most I've seen from Cedric since like the 205 Live days, which there was some really good stuff in the 205 Live days. Oops, sorry. There was some really good stuff back then, and this is the best I've seen since then.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really good. So, yeah, like you said, obviously that turned into an 8-man tag match. And this match was basically to sell the idea that Cedric is firmly hurt business at this point. I thought there was some really good TV direction in the moment when Ricochet and Cedric had their kind of face-off. I thought that was really good for a tag team. Yeah. For a tag team that really didn't accomplish much of anything. The betrayal there was as palpable as it possibly could be. You know what I mean? With these two guys, they obviously have a great chemistry.
Well, I think
they were never pushed to do anything.
Unfortunately, no. The moment especially...
I was going to say MVP wanted Shane Thorne and the big guy, Brendan Vink.
Yeah.
For some reason. Anyways, go ahead.
So, I mean, like you mentioned that moment. So, Ricochet, he gets tagged in. He goes on a bit of a run. He hits a couple moonsaults on MVP, I believe. Cedric tries to sneak in there and break up the pin, and Ricochet sees him and just puts his head up and gets off the pin. So there's a great little stare down moment between the two of them. That was really good. So I just want to mention that with using only a handful of shots, you get the sense of betrayal on Ricochet's face, and Cedric, responding to it accordingly. It was really good. So Ricochet blocks a lumbar check. They eventually both are tagged into the match. They're trading some shots. Ricochet hits a super kick. We saw him do a dragon suplex. That was cool. MVP breaks that up. Match breaks down. There's brawl. Everybody's hitting moves on one another. Hansen takes out MVP. Shelton and Lashley with a suicide dive. And so right after that, there's footage of him tossed up an X. WWE just posted an update on his condition. It says that he suffered a cervical injury during the suicide dive, and as precaution, Ivar was transported to a local hospital, expected to make a full recovery. So neck issue. Early reports were a stinger. So that sucks.
That does suck.
So while I assume medics are waiting to get down to the ringside, Ricochet misses a 630. Cedric hits the Michinoku driver on him. Covers. Ref counts 2. Ricochet kicks out. Bell rings. And until you find out that Hansen is hurt, you're like, what the heck happened? Yeah. They just got the finish of the match done out of the way so they can come attend to Hansen. So it's good they put Hansen's health above the match.
Yes, that is very good because that's what you should be doing in professional wrestling. After that, Drew MacIntyre just lingering. He's
biding his time, man.
He's milling about, and Charlie's like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, oh, my phone. I got the wrong one. Got the wrong phone. And she's like, oh, okay. So then Shane, I like this a little bit. Kevin Owens shows up to Raw Underground, and I like that even though Shane is a completely different character now, they still reference all the issues that him and Kevin Owens had.
Yep.
And he's like, look, I know we've had our issues in the past, but welcome to Raw Underground. And he's like, oh, okay. Still a jackass, Shane. And so Shane opens the door for him, and he goes on in. After that, we had Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. It's funny. It's a good thing that they got his debut match and his payback match out of the way, because if this had been his debut match, then everybody'd be shitting themselves, because they were still selling him and they still protected him. Like I loved the no sell and the RKO attempt, how he just stood there and Randy was trying to do there. I love that stuff. It's just the fact that he just showed up, basically got beat. I mean, that was going to be a 1-2-3. We know that. They protected him. They didn't have him eat a pin. but then he just quantum leaps out of there, and
Yeah.
we don't hear him, don't see him. He needs a feud, and he needs a feud right now.
He does need a feud. He does need a feud right now, and he needs to have words with Drew MacIntyre a second time. Drew's interfered in one of his matches. Second time. They're friends, but still, that should be a point of contention between the two of them. And Keith should bring that up.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll get him into something pretty soon. But otherwise, I thought that, again, this match, for what it was designed to make him look pretty good. I mentioned, that RKO bit was really good.
Orton was really selling his jaw. 'Cause, like, early on, he rolls out of the ring. It's like, doing this stuff, pointing at it, talking to the ref about how bad his jaw hurt from getting Claymored earlier. Gets back in briefly, rolls out again. Lee has to grab Orton by his ear to pull him up to the apron. And that's when the match really starts. And, Orton tried for an RKO a couple times. The first one, Lee just blocked based on strength. The other one, he escaped. The finish saw him go for a spirit bomb. Orton escapes that, hits an RKO. And basically, as soon as he gets up, Drew hits the ring, hits Randy with another Claymore. And he gets in his face and said, Orton, I want you to start seeing me in your nightmares. So he leaves the ring. Scrap Iron meets him on the stage. And he's like, hey, you keep putting yourself at risk. And Drew's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'll just go home now.
I love that because Scrap Iron's like, he's not yelling at him. He's like, look, I'm trying to help you help yourself. So apparently, Doc Linderman here in chat says Keith Lee acknowledged it on Raw Talk. I'd like to see that on the television. Okay, so White Brownie says, he said on Raw Talk that he feels he hasn't been able to prove himself because of a certain superstar. There you go, man.
There you go.
Have him fight Drew MacIntyre.
Yep. So we get Orton and Scrap Iron backstage, and Pierce has just apologized to Orton. And he says, I give you my word. Drew's gone. I watched him exit the building myself. And Orton says, well, sorry, you should be saying sorry because you can't do your job. And then Orton says, you know what? Your words, they mean nothing to me. Nothing.
Yeah. Kind of rude to yell at Scrap Iron like that, but, Randy Orton's got Claymore.
He's frustrated. I understand Randy just got Claymore second time.
Still, that's Scrap Iron. Don't talk to him like that. After that, we had Shayna Baszler versus the Riott Squad. I have written my notes here. This match really helps no one. We already talked about that. So Shayna's doing her typical move set, and Nia Jax is like, she's like, oh, yeah, you're not doing anything special. And she's like, oh, you want me to try a Samoan drop then? Like, I'll do your finisher and show you how easy it is. And then so she tries to get Liv up for a Samoan drop. Liv drops down, rolls her up for 3. So she got it there. Shayna gets up, and she's like just yelling at Nia, but she doesn't really care about this because she's still like, why am I here? And I actually like the interaction between her and Nia. I think they have an odd chemistry. They have a decent chemistry. I like it, man. I think it's good stuff.
Yeah. So back to Raw Underground we go. Owens and Aleister are still fighting. And it's like they'll fight in the ring for a bit, and then they'll go to the crowd, fight some more. Then Shane will yell, and then we're done with that segment. That's pretty much all Raw Underground is. Stuff happens. Shane yells, and we cut away.
You know what's funny about that, too, is that when he said, hey, this match is still going on. This fight's still happening. We'll be right back with Raw Underground. I thought to myself, we're not actually going to be back with Raw Underground, are we? We're not going to come back from commercial and it's going to be on. I actually thought that to myself. And that's exactly what happened. We come back from commercial, and we're at Nia Jax versus the Riott Squad. Now, she sets up. She tries to do the elbow smash thing, but instead of hitting it, whoever it was in the ring, Liv or Ruby, like moved their hand out of the way. So she just ended up stomping her leg, and I think they had already worked on her leg a little bit. Ruby had like drop kicked her knees.
Yeah, actually,
so
Riott Squad to start the match got a lot of offense in. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, the finish of this got cut.
Yeah.
Because I forgot what did she didn't actually hit a Samoan drop, did she?
No, the Ruby escapes, Liv tags herself in, the lights start to flicker, and the Riott Squad hit a bunch of moves in a row.
Okay, yeah.
And then Liv covers and the lights come down all the way.
Yeah, the ref counted 2, and then like the lights were out, so evidently he didn't know where the mat was.
Yeah, I guess not. Retribution graphics show up on the Trons. They're up on the Tron. I don't know who was talking first.
I was guessing it was Dio Madden.
Oh, could be.
I don't really remember much of what his voice sounds like because he was on Raw for just a second.
And then, this was actually kind of a manifesto trying to explain why they were there. Essentially, they've been cast aside from the company. That's pretty much it. And then Dijakovic gets to talk next, doing a full Ultimate Warrior impression.
Yeah.
It was something else.
And the funny thing is also, like, he used several, like, he mentioned eyes at one point, and then he mentioned the word feed at one point. And I was like, you're not even trying to be mysterious. It's clearly, anybody who's watched NXT at all, any of the episodes he's on, clearly it's Dijak.
I know you could try to hide your voice, whether it's through filtration or just trying to make it gruffer and louder and deeper.
It doesn't matter what it is.
I know that's Dominik Dijakovic.
Oh man! After that, we had the Mysterio family. I actually went on my phone. I grabbed a screenshot of Retribution.
Oh yeah.
And I did some enhancements on it. One of them is. So there's Mia Yim is one of them. I'm pretty sure this one here is Shane Thorne. I can't really tell who the other girl is. Yeah, I can't really tell. But yeah, I mean the Dijak is just clear as clear as day.
You sent me a part of the picture. Yeah, that's totally Dijak.
Like even from here in this little window, y'all can tell this is Dijak.
It's Dijak.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be an Arby's night for Retribution.
It's going to be an Arby's night for Retribution. After that, we got another Mysterio family interview. And they kind of said the same thing. Ray says, yeah, we got Buddy's message. He won't scare us away from ringside, so he can make a sacrifice out of Dom and get back to Seth's good graces. Mysterio family will be in Dom's corner, and if Buddy tries anything, we know how to handle ourselves. And that's kind of what happened.
That is what happened. In Raw Underground, they're still fighting Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. Kevin Owens at one point they're on the floor again, trying to get to Aleister Black. He shoves Babatunde, who then gets mad, gets in there, and just basically puts them both down.
Yeah, he spine busters Owens and hits a huge choke slam on Aleister.
Yeah. He is a big dude. So after that, Randy Orton is leaving the building, still selling the Claymores. He's starting to get interviewed by Charlie, and Drew attacks him. He gets Claymored a third time, and Orton is just out.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah.
An ambulance takes him out after that, and then we've got Dominik versus Murphy as our main event. Dominik was, again, pretty impressive in this match. I mean, if there's one thing is the reps being on Raw every week. I mean, God, this guy is pretty good for his age and for his training. Anyways, he does a fun splash off of some of the Thunderdome fans at one point. That took us to commercial. Next, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in this, but that sunset flip powerbomb that Ray does off the mat through.
Dom did it like double the speed.
He did it double the speed. It was it was more fluid than Ray's, and he's like double his height.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it puts Murphy through a table, hits a frog splash, and then Mysterio puts they put Murphy in the ropes. They just take kendo sticks to him, get the whole family involved. It's a big family affair.
It felt bad for Buddy, man. I mean, I understand that he beat up on Dom pretty good.
Yeah, he gave him some nasty welts. I don't really feel bad for Murphy. I felt bad for Mama Mysterio. She didn't look like she wanted to do that. And Mysterio was like, no, you take this kendo stick. You beat the shit out of that guy for what he did to our son. And she was like, this is really violent. I did not sign up for this.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. Anyways, fun match, though.
Yeah, it was all right. It was kind of weird, though, at one point in a street fight, Buddy put an abdominal stretch on Dom. I'm like, street fight, you can do whatever you want. Why are you doing an abdominal stretch? I know that led to Dom hip tossing Buddy out. But like from a strategic standpoint, you can do whatever you want.
Kick him in the front. Why did nobody kick anybody in the balls?
Kick him in the front area.
Nobody went for the balls.
First thing you should have done. Yep. Kick him in the front area. Not abdominal stretch. Kick to the front area.
There you go. Let's answer some questions.
Sounds good.
I've got a thread up on the... Here it is. Oh, I noticed they're on the Patreon also for Twitch subs and YouTube channel members and patrons. Ask Steven Larson went live today. What's the best cereal ever? Find out on Ask Steven Larson for patrons, Twitch subs, and YouTube channel members.
I like that we get a lot of food questions because the food-themed episodes seem to do well.
Yeah. Get your food questions in for Ask Steve and Larson.
No Flow Joe says they should have gave them back their NXT themes. Is that Retribution? Oh, Iconics.
Well, Billie Kay's was the Iconics theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember anything about Peyton Royce's theme. Tonight I seem to remember I didn't really mind Peyton Royce's. I think I could get used to that. It didn't.
Generic.
It wasn't that generic.
Theme. It was pretty generic. Listen to it again. It's pretty generic.
It's not as generic as Keith Lee's.
Listen to it again.
I don't need to listen to it again.
Isolde's with Cedric. What is the new lineup of Hurt Business? Who is a tag team and who are the solo competitors? I think Cedric and Shelton would make an awesome tag team.
Shelton and Cedric?
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense. That'd make sense. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
And also, the story they kind of set up with Shelton being somewhat suspicious of Cedric and his motivations for joining Hurt Business that play into all that.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Who did he had? He had like a mentor protege. Oh, it was him and Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was some fun stuff.
Remember when they tried to do when Shelton's Benjamin's character was meme?
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, yeah, God, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Where could that have possibly gone? Where could that have possibly gone?
That wasn't part of the conversation, though. What should we do with Cedric? Have him try to be a meme every week. All right, go for it. That was probably the conversation. That was the extent of it.
Hey, have you seen these memes? What? Look at this. The people like these memes where like somebody's staring off into space and it's like math. It's like they're confused. Have somebody do that. Okay, how was that a story? I was just showing you a funny thing. They're the kids. Demo. Dan Barber. Call this a conspiracy theory. Uh-oh, we're in bad territory already, Dan Barber. He says, but considering the tagline for Clash of Champions is Gold Rush, and that was the name of the first NXT title tournament, whose finalists were Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal. If Drew has a match that night, do you think after he retains the WWE title, he can be attacked afterwards by a returning Jinder to set up that X3-man band member thing they teased? No, I don't think they're referencing a NXT tournament at all. That being said, I'd love to see Jinder Mahal versus Drew MacIntyre.
Agree with you on both matters.
Gold Rush could actually be a reference to unifying the tag titles, though.
Could. Kirsten, Friendo sends a massive happy birthday to Steve. Yesterday was Steve's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Thank you.
I hope you get yourself those orange shoes.
If that's what you want me to use that gift card you got me, then
for whatever you want.
Then I will do it. Wolfpack for life. I'm getting 2 new puppies in a couple weeks. What are some good wrestling themed names for them? One boy and one girl. And Nemo here in response says Pitbulls 1 and 2, which is the best answer. That's the best answer.
That's good.
Rick and Scott.
That's
the
good.
Steiners.
Dynamite and Davy Boy.
That's good. Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega.
All right.
Make sure that's the full names, though.
Yes.
They're not done. I was just thinking of other tag teams.
Oh, fair enough. Shane's birthday tweet. Babatunde needs to be managed by Shane. Dabakato.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great. Nemo, in the next 2K game, do you think the Thunderdome will be a selectable stage? I think it seems perfectly reasonable to think that it will be.
Yeah.
I think that it will be. Yeah.
Unless they don't want to remember this particular period of WWE past the period itself.
I don't think Vince would think that this is something to forget. I think the Performance Center, he probably thinks was best forgotten.
Yeah.
Not this.
Diehard Homer says, would Survivor Series be the best time to unify the tag titles? I mean, that would make sense if they continue with the brand versus brand, but if it's brand versus brand versus brand, then you can't really do it then.
Just make this the story. Make it its own story. It doesn't have to be tied to brand versus brand. It can be its own thing. These guys are coming out for a challenge. unify the titles just based on its own merit. Where whatever pay-per-view it lands on it. This is a great question. Great question from Alex Foster. If you guys were a tag team, what would Adam Pearce confront you about during the show?
Ate all the prime rib and catering.
Steve, there's a couple of the wrestlers now over a couple weeks have said that you smell like shit out there in the ring. Do you have stomach issues? No, I just shit myself sometimes.
You had too much prime rib.
I get nervous, Adam Pearce. I get nervous sometimes. And
you ever had Scrap Iron? You ever had the nervous poops?
I know you're Scrap Iron.
I used to get nervous poops all the time when I played baseball. Night by night in kayfabe, how did Drew get the ambulance? Did he rent it? Did he steal it?
No, it was just the one that they always have to have ambulances there.
Yeah, it's just the one they always have.
It was just the one they have there.
Flats has a good question here. All the tag belts in WWE feel meaningless. Who could raise their profiles? Da, 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 da.
Yeah. If they came up to Maine at some point. Who could raise their profiles? Bring Imperium over from the UK. Well, they're already here, but I think they're going to go back to the UK.
Fear and Loathing, Scrap Iron is a parent that won't punish you no matter what you do. You just get a modestly stern talking to.
Yeah. He's like, I'm trying to talk to him like an adult.
This is a good question. Muted Mayday. What's the end game for this Aleister Owens feud? They don't know.
I mean, you'd think Aleister would have to, come out of it on the winning end. Kevin Owens is already just the guy that puts people over now. Let's see here. Dr. Steve Winters. Will not pushing the tag team division hurt WWE like not pushing cruiserweights hurt WCW? No.
I mean, it's to the point now where AEW's tag division is so loaded that if they brought someone else in, they already have teams that massively popular and wildly successful and super talented teams they don't really do much with. Lucha Brothers, XLAX. I could go on. Their tag division is so stacked.
No, I'm talking about, he said WWE. Did I say AEW?
No, he said WWE, but I'm saying if they don't focus on WWE tag teams, if WWE doesn't focus on tag teams, if tag teams get fed up with not, like the Revival, get fed up with not having opportunity, then they might take their talents elsewhere. But I was saying, my point was AEW, the most high-profile competitor WWE has here in the States, their tag division is already stacked. How many more spots would there really be available to them? That was the point. So you got to talk Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
But then that's the point where unless you're just fed up with being in WWE.
If you look at, so let's look at the tag team division in WWE in general. You got Heavy Machinery. They ain't going to go anywhere because Vince likes Otis. Cesaro and Nakamura are singles guys.
Cesaro is actually he's the tag team specialist with pretty much anybody you put with him.
With anybody you put with him, but if he goes anywhere else, I could see that guy going to Japan. You know what I mean? And he'd be in the G1. I don't think that he'd be a tag team with anybody, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe he'll hook up with Chris Hero if he left, but I don't think he's going to. AOP. I don't know. AEW seems to, I don't know. They seem to have. Tony Khan apparently wants to have more TV. He wants to have more programming. And they could totally let their wrestlers breathe that they already have. But they're also really good at putting a bunch of people together. They're good at factions. So I don't know. It's not like there's anybody in the tag division that I don't know, should be a main eventer as a singles guy right now, besides Cesaro and Nakamura. Montez Ford could be a guy, but in 5 years.
I know they're not an active tag team right now, but the New Day, Big E, he's a main eventer. Kofi has been a main eventer.
Yeah. I don't even know what my point was. Broke Lesnar. Do you think it's possible that Billie Kay will end up being the standout instead of Peyton? It's all about opportunity, and if she's not given opportunity, she's not going to be able to make any use of it.
Heel long heavy, create a 4-man finisher for Hurt Business. It has to end in a lumbar check because that move's awesome.
So you do a combo. What's Lashley's the shoulder thing? Dominator? Is that what it is?
Dominator. Yeah.
Dominator and then
Shelton's paid dirt thing.
Yeah, you can combo that. MVPs would be last. It'd be after the lumbar check because it's that silly. Doesn't he have like a 5-knuckle shuffle of his own? I don't think it's a finisher.
He has something. No, he has another move. But
it's the thing that he does, right?
Yeah, that's not a finish though.
Right, but that would be the finish because you've already taken 3, and that'd be the cherry on top. You know.
Gotcha. White Brownie 92. If they still end up doing champion versus champion at Survivor Series, is it possible we'll get Asuka versus Bayley versus Io Shirai? It's entirely possible.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it. Michael, forget how to say his last name. Migand? I'm a week late, but am I the only one that heard Shane call Jack Daddy Ref Spider during last week's Underground subbing? Didn't Caljack tell us that's his nickname?
Oh, maybe, but he's been doing that for a while. Calling that ref Spider. It's not the first time. Last week wasn't the first time. I don't.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But I thought that Caljack told us that before Raw Underground. I think he mentioned that.
Yeah, that could be. Doc Linderman's, who ends up the babyface with Andrade and Garza if the split turns into a feud. So Garza, of course, he chickened out with Retribution, which isn't a babyface move. But Zelina is more money as a heel manager.
Shouldn't they just both stay heels?
Yeah, they probably should.
Because they're all dicks. I don't see that changing. Remember that weird there was 2 weeks when Garza was all of a sudden a face in NXT.
Yeah, I know.
He proposed to his fiance, and then all of a sudden he was trying to hit on everybody else.
Dang MQ, which feud ends first? Rollins versus Mysterios or Corbin versus Riddle? Probably Corbin versus Riddle, because they're going to wait till Ray's healed up from his triceps injury to have that match with Seth. And that's going to be another month and a half.
Yeah, but you think that feud is going to continue? It's going to carry out every week until then? There's only so many things they can do.
Off and on.
Maybe.
B Rooster. Drew versus Randy in a finisher versus finisher Iron Man match. You get a point every time you hit your finisher. That'd be an interesting idea.
Oh, that's cool.
I like that.
Let's see here. Willie Powerbottom. When Dijak debuts on the main roster, what is he going to do with his $250,000 in Arby's money?
I don't know, man.
Buy Arby's.
Does he like riding mowers?
Does he want tap dancing lessons?
This is a good question. Gareth, do you think MVP's current run has earned him Hall of Famer status or too early to tell?
I think it has. I think that it probably not. Given who they give the Hall of Fame status to, it was sort of on the cusp because he was a U.S. champion. He was a decently big deal for a spell. Granted, I wasn't watching at the time. But now, yeah, over whatever he's going to do over the next 3 years, if he continues, he could be part of a main event scene. Lashley really at some point, the Hurt Business should elevate Lashley to the main event scene.
Yep. I'm just trying to do something. Will we get to see Baszler and Nia bond during a bar fight?
It'll be something like that. They'll bond over violence somehow. I don't think it's going to be a bar fight, but it could be that. They did that already.
Isaldis, Dark Order has Sinbad. What celebrity does the Hurt Business recruit to join them?
Oh, man. Gotta see if he's still alive. I'm gonna say Richard Roundtree.
Good answer.
Right?
That's a really good answer.
Shut your mouth.
That's a great answer.
Dog authority figure. Do we get a proper Andrade Garza split in 2020, or will it continually be teased, built up to nothing? I think we're gonna.
This is the new.
I think
this could be the. This could be the new Sasha Bailey.
Yeah, next week it'll be like nothing happened.
Yep. Well, there was Dr. Shelby was referenced, I believe, during this whole their match tonight.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna go. They'll go to that one lady who does it on. Was it backstage? They had those segments, the therapy sessions.
Yeah. Those little commercials.
That was pretty funny. This is a great question, Paul Lenkick. I mean, it's more of a comment. Isn't it nice to see Drew being the face champion and not being stupid? He's being just as ruthless and cunning as Orton. Yeah,
it's great. It's great. It's pretty cool what you could do with a baby face who isn't a pushover.
Moses opposes. In 15 to 20 years, what current superstar's kid do you want to see in the main event of Raw? Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan versus the Miz's kid. Daniel Bryan's kid versus the Miz's kid. Uh-oh, I think I lost you. You're about to say some really fast stuff. Oh, there he is.
15 is good. I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, there he is. You froze on my screen and then did the blah, blah, blah thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what superstar kid versus what superstar kid do you want to see?
Who'd you say? Oh, Daniel Bryan versus
Daniel Bryan's kid. Birdie versus whatever Mrs. Kid's name is. Monroe?
That sounds right.
Monroe Sky? That's what it is.
I can't really top that. That's good.
Let's see here. Let's see here. I don't even know. Eddie Brock's Venom. Not quite a WWE question, but I just watched All Out. And I feel that, and do you feel that Matt Cardona / Zack Ryder is too WWE now? Because I feel he's just Zack Ryder in AEW and hasn't changed much since the move, still woos and fist pumping. Yeah, that's his problem. And if they're going to wait till he signs like a longer term deal to do anything with him, just can't put him on TV. He's wasting space. He's wasting a spot. That's somebody. If you're only putting him on TV because he has several million Twitter followers and a podcast, that's not a reason to put him on TV.
Yeah. I mean, if he's just going out there and just kind of doing the same thing he's always done and not challenging himself to do something different. Granted, he hasn't had like a full-on one-on-one match, I don't think.
Dude, Brody, you could see the freedom of Brody Lee. And now especially the realization, the satisfaction of, man, this is all on me. I have to kill it. And he is.
Yeah.
That's why he's got so much Chili's money.
All that Chili's money. 6 riding mowers.
Anyways, is that it, dude?
Sure.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back. Tomorrow. I was going to say tomorrow's the Impact stream, but we got
it's NXT, man.
Stupid NXT tomorrow. Damn it. We'll be back.
Well, there's going to be a new champion tomorrow.
Ooh, it's gonna be Finn Balor. Spoiler alert, it's Finn Balor. I don't even know that. That's not a spoiler. That's what it is.
It's just speculation, probably. I mean, it's essentially...
It ain't gonna be Adam Cole, so it's gonna be Finn Balor.
It's the two greatest, longest reigning NXT champions taking on each other. You could say to determine who's the greatest NXT champion.
I just like chilling with my Impact people, man. That's all I want to do.
Well, you're gonna have to wait a week. Sorry to tell you.
Anyways, maybe I don't have to wait a week.
I got some bad news for you, Steve.
You got bad bedside manner, you know that?
It's Super Tuesday 2. How can you not be excited for something that's called Super Tuesday 2?
It should be Super Tuesday 2.
Comma T-O-O.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.